Please be seated. Morning, everybody. I came across a quote last week, and it said, when you see an opportunity, don't blink. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But allow me to expand on it a little bit by telling you a story of a teammate of mine. And when I tell you this story, I want you to think about one of your teammates. Could be somebody here at Appleby, could be somebody outside of Appleby. But think about what you mean to that teammate and what that teammate means to you. I'll bring you back to 1985. I was going into my first year of university, right around your age right now. And I was the first person out of my high school. I was in Hamilton. It was a Catholic school in Hamilton. I was the first person to get an athletic scholarship south of the border. So I was going to Eastern Michigan University. I wasn't alone. There was another young man by the name of Jeff Croonan. Jeff was from Westmountain High School in Hamilton. He was part of the public board. I didn't know him, but he had signed a scholarship as well to come down to Michigan. And he called me up. I knew nothing about him. We never played against each other. He called me up and he said, "Do you want to be my roommate?" And I thought, this is perfect. A fellow Canadian, a fellow Hamiltonian, we'll support each other. At least there's some familiar ground there. And then I met him. What I noticed right away with Jeff, he was the same height as me. He was the same weight as me. He had the same hair color as me. He played the exact same position as me. So here I was. I agreed to be his roommate, and we were going to be in direct competition with each other. We were fighting for the same job on that team. We wanted to be the defensive end. And when we got down to that practice field, it was all-out war. We butted heads. We fought. Our coach pitted us against each other. He loved it. But that's where it ended. Because off the field, Jeff and I hit it off like you would not believe. He became my best friend. He became my brother. He became my confidant. Jeff was somebody I could say anything to and not worry about feeling judged. We were inseparable. Everywhere we walked around campus, people literally thought we were brothers. He was Calvin, I was Hobbes. That's how we looked at it. And it went on for the 4 years that we lived together. Eventually, we went on to our pro career. He went and played for Winnipeg. I went and played for Calgary. And that was a whole new dynamic. Now we were on opposing teams, facing each other, and it was the same war on the field. It was the same butting heads, but we brought out the best in each other because that's the way the game was meant to be played. But after that last whistle went, we were back together, roommates, brothers, friends. In every essence of the word, we were soulmates. Jeff eventually made his way back to Hamilton. I went back to Hamilton as well. And we made a point of seeing each other, sometimes after 2 months, sometimes after 6 months, sometimes up to a year. But regardless of how much time passed, it was the same feeling every single time I got together with Jeff. Roommates, teammates, brothers, friends, every single time. It was that same consistent feeling. But the last couple times I saw Jeff, something was wrong. Something was different. And I couldn't put my finger on it. His breathing had become labored. He had gained some weight. There was something in his eyes. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but something was wrong. The other thing you need to know about Jeff is he had the worst luck in the world. Bad luck followed him wherever he went. When we were in university, I got a phone call in the middle of the night. I had no idea Jeff had left the room. A doctor's calling me from the hospital. Your roommate's in the hospital. He has spinal meningitis. I didn't know what that was. I said, "Is that a bad thing?" The doctor said, "Well, we had to give him a spinal tap and he almost died." I'm like, okay, I guess that's a bad thing. He gets hit in the eye with a hockey stick. He gets a partially detached retina. We're out golfing, he gets hit in the head with a golf ball, fractures his skull, has to be rushed to the hospital. He's driving back to Hamilton one time from Winnipeg, gets rear-ended, not by a car, Jeff had to do it in a big way, he gets rear-ended by a Greyhound bus and crushes his car. I mean, story after story like that. If there was a thunderstorm outside, you didn't want to stand beside Jeff because he was going to get struck by lightning. But 4 years ago, that luck ran out, or that bad luck finished. I got a phone call 8:30 in the morning. I was in my office. His dad called me. Jeff had passed away, 46 years old. Too young. How? He didn't give me an answer. He wasn't sick. I hung up the phone. I took off to the house. He had passed away in his sleep. I wanted to see him. And when I got to that house, his father said to me, "Lou, you need to know something. Jeff was an addict. He had checked himself into rehab." I said, "Addicted to what?" He said, "Painkillers." Doctor was giving him generous amounts of Oxycontin. I had no idea. So the first question in my mind was, why? Why was my brother, my friend, my teammate, my roommate, the person I shared everything with, why did he keep that from me? And the answer was pretty simple when his dad gave it to me. He goes, "Lou, you were his happy place. You were his good place." And he didn't want to bring that pain into that. And then the next question I asked myself, something that actually bothered me even more, is why didn't I say anything? Why didn't I take that opportunity to say something? The red flag was waving in front of me. The warning signs were there. I recognized something, but I chose to stay silent. And that I regret. Prior to him passing away, he was working on a book. And he wanted to write about all his bad experiences and how he overcame them. He never finished it, but his parents published it for him 2 months after he passed away. And in this book, I picked up a copy, and he talks about my relationship with him in it. And he talks about how I was a source of support. He said that I was a voice of reason to him, and I had no idea. And I thought, how ironic is it that he looked at me in this light, and yet I said nothing. I didn't say anything when I saw the warning signs. All I needed to say was, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" That's all I needed to say. So I want you to consider two things. The first, what can you learn from your teammate? Because I didn't learn anything about football. I didn't learn anything about the field of play from Jeff. I learned about giving myself. I learned about the importance of family. I learned about the importance of relationships. I learned of the importance of having a sense of humor and being able to laugh at yourself. Those are the things that I took from Jeff. Celebrating the little things in life. That's what I learned. And let me make it perfectly clear. Miss Haggie's my teammate. Zook is my teammate. Miss Sampson's my teammate. Ava, you're my teammate. Katie, you're my teammate. Each one of you are my teammates, and I hope to learn something from you, and you learn something from me. And as teammates, we work together for a common goal. And I honestly believe the common goal here at Appleby, a simple one to have, is just simply make this place a better place. But there are times when your teammate needs to be pushed. And there are times where you need to catch your teammate when they fall. And there are times that you're going to need to have a difficult conversation. The second thing I want you to consider is two questions. The first, what's the worst thing that can happen if I ask the question? What is the worst thing that could happen if I had said to Jeff, "Are you all right?" And I might have got the truth, which is not a bad thing when you think about it. But then ask yourself this question. What's the worst thing that could happen if I don't ask the question? And you may end up regretting that. You may not like that answer because it could end up very, very tragic. Ladies and gentlemen, being a teammate is not just about being in that happy and good place. Yes, majority of the time, that's where we want to be. But in order to get there, you have to have those difficult conversations. You have to be willing to ask your teammate, are you okay? Are you all right? You have to be taken out of that comfort zone, as we so often hear, and be willing to have those discussions. So please, please, when you see an opportunity, don't blink. Please stand and join me in hymn 500.